Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Green to Great. Dave, what are we talking about today?
Well, it's been almost 9 months since my apprenticeship here at Concord Carpenter, and I'm starting to notice a significant leap in my skill set.
Yeah, we are too.
That's good. I still have a long way to go, but I wanted to draw attention today to something that has been instrumental in my experience so far here at Concord Carpenter.
All right, so that's where we're going to go with this. All right, so tell us what it is. What's that?
Well, something that you mentioned on day one was you always wanted to try and help me put my best foot forward, and you've reiterated that time and time again, just throughout different projects and working with different subcontractors.
So what do you mean by best foot forward? Like, give me an example. I think I know what it means, but tell them.
Yeah, some of the examples that have come to mind since I've been back to work is, providing tools and equipment when we need it to do a certain job. Making sure that your subcontractors have everything they need before they head into the site. Making sure everything's prepped for them. And then plenty of taking time to have intentional learning moments where
teaching moments. Yeah,
it's not about necessarily getting the job done. It's about taking a few moments to teach something so that it's taught, it's learned, and we can move on, and I have that skill under my belt.
Or there's a goal, an end goal, or
right.
The end of the day goal, or kind of setting you up for success for the day. We talk about that a lot, right?
Yeah.
So what do you mean by with our subs? Give me an example of that a little bit. We're talking about that.
Well, especially when we have like a flooring contractor coming in, making sure that our subfloor is dead flat for them to be able to put their finished floor on, or with our plaster guy, he needs to know where all the outlets are going to be. We need to coordinate with our electricians, and giving that information to our plaster contractor ahead of time allows him to just step on site and do his job as best he can. So again, it's that idea of putting his best foot forward so that his work comes out the highest quality it can.
He's our plaster's a great guy. He I only hire subs. I develop relationships, and I try to get guys that have my back. And my plaster I've been using for years, and I will always leave him some scrap wood, strapping, 2x, because inevitably we forget a nailer. And I don't want the plaster to go, well, it's not my problem, and just cover it with a board, and the board cracks over time. I want him to take a piece of scrap we left him in a pile and screw it in and do it right. And he does. And for example, he called me yesterday and he sent me a picture of one little bay that we had left insulation out on Everett Street because the electrician needed to do something. I forgot it, you forgot it, Brian forgot it, and he said, do you want me to put insulation in this? And I was like, oh no. I'm like, yes, please. And I said, I'll send somebody down with insulation, give me a couple of minutes. He goes, no, you left some here. And I was like, that's right, I did. I left strapping, a little bit of insulation, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, in case he needs it. So I try to think about those guys a little bit, as well as a dumpster, a vacuum, brooms, and a barrel, and cleanup material. So we always try to make their lives a little bit easier. So I personally think it's important to set up your people for success, and especially you. So we're trying to train you up. We want you to become, and you are becoming, a really valuable member of this team, and we want you to just be the superstar for us. So it's time invested early.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this on the phone yesterday. Helping you put your best foot forward. If we invest in you now, I think it pays dividends later. I think I used that term.
Absolutely. I mean, on day one, literally my very first day, first thing you gave me was a tourniquet and other safety first aid equipment.
Yeah.
Which set a really important tone. Our first priority is to be safe. Doing what we do. You gave me a compact router, jigsaw, toolboxes. What else? Some other things too that I'm forgetting off the top of my head.
Stuff, I think.
But all of that set the tone for what this apprenticeship has been so far, which is every day. I really do feel like I'm not wondering what do I need to do this job well, or what information am I missing to complete this task. All of that's been provided so that as an individual carpenter I can make my own decisions in the moment and learn from those decisions.
I think a little bit too, it takes a little bit of stress and strain off you
Yes.
purchase-wise, money-wise, right?
Oh.
So, you've got bills to pay, you've got a daughter, you've got rent and mortgage or whatever, all that stuff. You probably wouldn't have gone out and bought a tourniquet. You probably wouldn't have gone out like the truck cap. We got you a truck cap and ladder rack because we needed you to be able to transport ladders and materials. And I needed your tools to be dry and safe. And I know from experience working out of a pickup truck for many years before I went to a trailer, it absolutely stinks to have to take your tools out of the truck at the end of the day when you're exhausted.
Yeah.
So that was one of the first things I had him do is I said, go pick out a truck cap. You said you couldn't afford it. I said, we'll buy it for you. You can pay some of it off with a little bit of work here and there, but the company will get it for you. We want you to have this to be able to do this stuff for us. So,
and I knew that the investment in starting this this career is pretty significant, and it can take a while to build up that tool supply.
We want to do a video on that, actually, don't we?
Yeah.
About tools and stuff. Yeah.
Which we should,
Yeah.
because it's challenging. It's definitely overwhelming when you first start. But I knew that I didn't necessarily have the money to invest in that, but I knew that I had the time and the work ethic to invest in it. So being able to work off the cap or work off a tool it makes me, I think, a better and more efficient carpenter every day.
Yeah. And I also think it helps you feel like you're earning your keep on some of that stuff. But what other best foot forward things are we doing, or you doing, or you're seeing that is helping you along the way?
Well, the former teacher in me always recognizes a good learning moment and teaching moment. Learning moment on my end and teaching moment on your end, and I think that's something I've appreciated is when you recognize, stop, tools down, radio off. Let's just talk for a second about what we're doing here or what we're going to do.
Yeah, come here, I want to show you something quick.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why I did this. Yeah.
Or the night before, sending articles and links to different videos to be prepared for the next day. Those are those intentional learning moments that are invaluable. I mean, probably more valuable than any tool you could ever have.
Do you read those things?
I do.
Good.
Yeah.
So what Dave's referring to is sometimes a lot of this stuff is repetitive as you get into the trades. It's something I've done before. Different client, maybe a slightly different application, but the process, the end game is the same. And for example, Tuesday we're going to install a floor heat. Now you've done one with me already. You brand spanking new. I sent Dave, but it's a different brand. We did warm up. This is Weedy. So I sent Dave the install instructions, and I think maybe there's a video. I don't know what I sent them, but just to look it over and kind of be familiar so that when we're installing it, it's not the first time he's seeing some of this stuff. He's read it at least once. So he's read it. He's now going to see it. He's going to do it. And so you've got the whole explain, demo, do, kinetic, all of the learning modes. What do you call them? Learning modalities or whatever. Yeah. And you've got all of those things involved.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of stuff, believe it or not, I look at it, sending him reading assignments. A lot of people will be like, there's no way I'm going to do that. I'm not getting paid to read. It's part of his apprenticeship, and it's part of training. It's part of making him and us as a team better. And if he's willing to do it, and if you're willing as an apprentice to do it, it's smart.
Yeah.
I think it's smart.
Not to speak to people because I'm weary of being self-righteous, but I think if you're going to start an apprenticeship, it's like being in school.
Right.
You're expected to do homework in school. You should be expected to do some kind of homework when you're starting an apprenticeship throughout your entire apprenticeship.
It's like when we were doing those rafters. You went home and you cut a whole bunch of scrap and just kept doing the angles and the stairs and stuff. Yeah. But that's just getting your reps in and getting your experience in. Doing the reps.
Yeah.
How about other stuff? What else have we done best foot forward that you see out there?
I would argue probably maybe the most invaluable learning moments is from when you bring in guys like Jason Foley.
Yep.
Or Yemby working on the roof.
Right, for roofing, right.
Jason is a great teacher, but simply being able to work with another trade for part of the day or the whole day.
Yep.
When do you get to do that? You don't as a carpenter.
That's something that I said to you I was going to try to do early on, and I have good subcontractors, also friends in the trades that are they're good. They're like-minded, good contractors. They're professional. They want to do it right. There's passion. The professionalism is just outstanding. And so there are opportunities to bring someone in who's like Jason was a tile installer before he became a contractor. And he's just outstanding at doing bathroom remodels and waterproofing systems, Weedy, Schluter, all of it. So having Jason come in and you work with Jason, you're gonna learn things from Jason that I don't know, or I haven't done, or he's done so many more than I've done. So that's a great opportunity because we do a lot of that work. Now Yemby does a lot of roofing and siding. It was great to have him. I was preoccupied doing something else that day. I put you with Yemby for the day, and you guys sided that man cave, and that was a good opportunity. Intentional learning moments that we plan for Dave, and we kind of scheduled him in. Now the company takes a loss that day. Dave's probably not performing at the level of these other guys, but he's learning something, and then the next time he does it, it comes a little bit faster, a little bit smoother. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast, and so all of that stuff starts to click. And especially with somebody like Dave, who's a fast learner and passionate. And I'd say this every video we do, Green to Great. You can't teach passion, and I just think that's what helps you learn more because you really want to absorb this stuff. You want it. Like, and tell me more.
That's my expectation for myself. We were talking about this earlier in the truck. Is that I may not have the same skill set as the veteran guys around me, but the thing I can exchange for information and skills is work ethic, right? And hustle. Like I can give that to you, and I'm hoping, not expecting, but I'm hoping that the veteran guys around me teach me something, show me something, even if it's just getting to watch them. But you've taken it a step further, and again, helping me put my best foot forward by putting me with guys like Jason Foley and Yemby, and not just saying, oh, you're going to learn it as you go. No. Friday you're going to work with Jason, or Tuesday you're going to work with Yemby.
Yep.
And then boom, I got that. I have that experience.
And they're cool enough to allow it. Now I pay Dave to go with these guys, or these guys are working on my jobs, and Dave's, they're all assigned to that project. That's how I do it. I don't ask Yemby or Jason to pay him for the day. But there are other things that we've done. I think Best Foot Forward. We talked about where we don't necessarily train you, but it's like, hey Dave, come over here, I want to talk to you about a little bit of stuff, like for instance the copper flashing. We went over copper flashing techniques. Spray foam, we don't install spray foam, but I assigned Dave for the half a day anyway to a job where we were doing spray foam because I wanted him to understand the process. I wanted him, it's a whole 80-20 rule, and I say this all the time, I use this all the time, 80-20. In order to do or teach or be able to be proficient in even 20% of anything, you've got to know 80%. You've got to know a little bit about it, why it works this way, how to get it to do this, or how to get to the end game. That whole 80-20 rule falls in place with, say, the spray foam. When we're building a building and we're going to be spray foaming, it's good for you to know how those spray foamers work and operate, as well as you transition into a foreman and further in this company. I want you to understand the processes, and the subcontractor processes are super important, and that translates right into writing estimates, right? So, I have been dragging him along with me. I know it's boring.
No, it's not at all.
By the way, did you get the email about the garage and the barn build?
Yeah.
So that was out in Harvard. We went and looked at it. So I took Dave to look at this process, and then the architect has come up with plans. So I sent him the plans, and those aren't set in stone yet, but I think that's the concept that we're going to build. And would most guys take an apprentice on estimates? No, there's zero effort, zero gain from it. You're paying him to just tag along. But what I'm hoping is that 3 years from now, Dave's writing estimates and Dave's doing that kind of stuff. So
I also think too, just to touch on the estimates point, I understand how my labor, my output, factors into the bid, into the estimate for the job, and how I can maybe increase profit for the company by, I don't know, accomplishing something faster, or maybe thinking just far enough ahead to be able to expedite some kind of process that we're on.
Right.
And I was also going to say too, when you brought me for that spray foam installation day, the first time I'd ever seen it, over at our Newton job a couple weeks ago when you asked me to go meet the spray foam guys, this was months after the first demonstration, I was just able to converse with them about what they needed to do way, more, I was able to articulate what needed to happen much more clearly, because
You
I had
understood it
seen
more.
that day.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I
exposure.
saw how they install. I saw what, you know, how they're going to approach this space and what they're going to need. And we ended up making we changed what we ended up spray foaming that day.
Yeah, you made some on the fly kind of decisions or field modifications.
With your guidance, but it was more independent on my part than it had been before. You know what I mean? So that learning moment definitely, I think, helped that particular day.
And then I sent you back a few days later to meet with the inspector for that
Right.
spray foam
Right.
installation inspection. So
Right.
the whole point is I want Dave to understand the bigger process. It's one thing if Dave just shows up to a job site every day, does what he's supposed to, and goes home. There's a whole lot of stuff in remodeling because we touch everything in a house.
Yeah.
That goes on. There's stuff that goes on after work in the computer, on the phone with clients. And there are things that going on in other jobs, like the inspections and other subs, that you don't see because we're over there doing that work. So I will, a lot of times it helps me too because I might need to be somewhere else. I'll send Dave to meet the spray foam guys. Let him in, show him how to get in and out, unlock the porta potty, show him where the wash station is, explain to him about power, show him where the shutoffs are for the power and all this stuff, and then go over the job with them and then have them lock up or maybe meet them at the end of the day. I don't know.
Right.
But that kind of stuff I think is important, and it will pay dividends later. It really will.
Well, so this kind of brings me to my maybe last question here. As the business owner or a business owner, why do you think it's important to invest in your employees the way that you have?
So I just said it. It pays dividends. So I could very easily do what was done with me and lots of other guys today still in the trades and just say, I'm going to pay you this much an hour, you're an apprentice, you'll learn as you go, and 5 years later he'll be pretty good. Because if he wants to learn, he'll learn on his own and he'll figure it out. Or we could have that result in 3 years or 2 years. And a better result because we took the time to teach everything or as much as we could. Or I think it's almost like a mutual funds, right? So you invest a little bit every month, right? And it's compounding interest, and you make more and more money the more you invest in over time. And I think if we look at it like that, compounding interest, dividends, it makes sense to invest early as opposed to just like hope it works out in the long run. And so what does that mean as a business owner? It means the company takes a loss, you take on an employee, and you're not really making money off them. Or maybe you are. Maybe you're savvy enough or smart enough to bid your job so that you can make money off an apprentice. Or maybe you provide enough value in what your company does to your clients that you could build this apprentice out and still make money. But my mindset in the beginning was zero gain. I was not going to make any money off of Dave. It's changed, and we're starting to change our billing and estimating now because your skills are going up. But I was not going to make any money off it. I was just going to break even and teach. And if we took the time now to teach, the end game comes faster, I hope. And that's the goal. I'm seeing it with you. It doesn't happen with everybody. We had this conversation. There's at least 4 people that came before Dave that we tried to do this with, and it did not work. They're gone. Lack of passion, lack of work ethic, lack of enthusiasm, and just probably not even wanting to be in that right trade. Thought they did, but they didn't. So I'm not saying that you can employ this technique and it'll work with everyone. It won't. You got to find the employee who wants to learn, who is passionate.
Yeah, and again, I just reiterate that that's what I can exchange for what you're offering is interest and passion and a really deep commitment to just being better every day.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
I think that your attitude as a carpenter is more forward thinking than other guys I've worked for, and that's been instrumental in the progress that I've made. Not just as a carpenter, but also as a business owner. Your approach to every day and the long term as well has been instrumental in my growth. Setting aside time to teach something is more forward thinking than just saying you'll learn it as you go.
Right. Yeah, totally. But what's funny is I don't think I'm that unique anymore. 10 years ago I probably was, but now with some of these Instagram people where they're out there and some of these websites, and I think a lot of I guess with the skills gap, I think that a lot of the existing younger uprising carpenters and tradespeople are starting to take pride in what they do, and I'm seeing it in the craftsmanship. what's the hashtag? Keep the craft alive. So this old house, fine home building. A lot of these institutions are starting to bring up, and these younger carpenters are taking pride. They're proud of what they're doing. They're showing off their work, and I do think that that's rubbing off. And I think a lot of those guys, including myself, will be the ones who maybe hopefully turn this around, because the old way of becoming an apprentice doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it's scaring more people out of the trades than into the trades.
Well, I agree with what you said. I think there's a lot to take pride in, not just in the the actual product that you build, but the way that you build it. We've tried to kind of communicate that in this series here.
Yeah.
You know, the approach you take to building an apprentice, and building a company with a lot of really talented, like-minded employees.
Yeah, that's the end goal for me. I mean, we're still working towards that. We're trying to build and grow, and it doesn't happen fast. I think it's a slow process, but I think we have our goal in mind. I can see it over the horizon. We just got to get there, and we're getting there slowly. And we're having fun with it, Dave. We're enjoying you, and Brian is enjoying you and saying that your skill set is moving up fast, and I think he's enjoying that as well. So, do you want to say anything else before we wrap up?
No, just that I'm super grateful as always for the opportunity.
He's so gracious.
It just keeps getting, every day is a good day.
It doesn't help that we review lots of tools and you get to play with some new tools and stuff too.
Definitely a benefit.
Yeah, definitely a benefit.
Aside from that, it's always a good day on site.
Awesome. Well, listen, guys, that's it for this episode. It's a shorter version. This is our Green to Great video series, following Dave's journey as apprentice from green to great. I think he'll be there sooner than we think. And please leave us a comment, give us some feedback. What would you like us to talk about on our next video? I'm Rob Robillard.
I'm Dave Brefini.
We'll see you next time here at Green to Great. Take care.